Hello everyone, so I'm holding the phone here. I might drop you several times. I've tried to film this about 4 times and my phone's flown across the room. So I did a video about my cat being diagnosed with feline hypertrophic cardiomyopathy in August. At the time that she got sick, I was told she probably wouldn't make the night, and she did. And then I was told, she might have a few weeks, but she responded really, really well to medicine. And they said she'd have about 6 months, 6 to 18 months. But that they were relatively happy because we'd managed to reduce her furosemide down from three quarters of a tablet. So take one tablet and give 3/4. So there was a quarter 3 times a day given to her, to a quarter twice a day. On Tuesday last week, to the exact hour, 26 weeks, so exactly 6 months, to the exact hour, Misty passed away. What makes it really sad, I'd taken her to the vets that afternoon for a review. Her breathing rate had been between 20 and 24 breaths a minute, so it was relatively fine. They said, it's below 30, that's really nice, that's really good. The vet said that her lungs sounded clear and her heart was fine. Not fine, obviously she had the heart condition, but it was like, they were happy with how it sounded for a cat with her condition. They weren't concerned that she was deteriorating or anything like that. And I left the vets at 3 o'clock that afternoon. And drove home. We got home about 3:30. Because there was some traffic because school kids and stuff coming home. And she always found going to the vets quite stressful. So I brought her in, I gave her a brush, she loved the glove. I gave her some dreamies and she ate her dreamies initially. I was like, fair enough. Later in the evening, about 8 o'clock, I tried to give her furosemide dose that she needed that evening, which I always did surgery on a dreamies tablet. A dreamies treat, or temptations as they're known in some countries. Put a furosemide in there and she would eat it perfectly fine, so I didn't have to stress her out in that. I tried to make everything as easy as possible for her because I didn't want to make her stress because of her heart. I did everything right. Her medication was given every day, exactly the same time, every morning and evening, like clockwork. Did everything right every day. I counted her breaths. I got to give her furosemide that evening and she would not eat the dreamies. She kept putting them in her mouth and then spitting them out, and I thought, it's been quite a stressful day. I'm not too worried about this because we've been to the vets today. If this would have been any other day and I hadn't been to the vet, I would have been immediately on the phone to the vet. So this is about 8 o'clock. This is happening. Come 8:15, I'm getting quite frustrated because she hasn't taken her medicine. So I drove to the shops to buy some salmon to wrap the tablet up in because there's no way she would not eat salmon. I came home, I got the salmon out, and she was panting. So immediately I got on the phone to the emergency vets, and they said just bring her straight in. So I took her straight in. Thankfully I don't live very far away. As soon as I walked through the door of the vets, there was a nurse there who saw her, or a vet, I'm not even sure if they were a vet or a nurse, who saw her panting, and she was just like, give me the basket. And she grabbed my cat's basket and she literally ran with my cat. And then the receptionist kept saying to people phoning on the phone, I'm really sorry, we are dealing with a very critical, life-threatening patient at the moment. I was the only person sat inside the vet. other than another person who had a little puppy who just had its paw checked because it got trapped in a door. It was a tiny puppy. It was very cute. But yeah, they were going home, so I was like, I hope that's not my cat. Then she never said cat, she said patient, and then she's like, I'm really sorry, we're dealing with a very critical cat at the moment. And it was at that point I was like, that's got to be my cat. And I must have been sat there for about 20 minutes, just absolutely beside myself, completely on my own, hoping and wishing that, you know, she's all right, because I got her there within, like, the shop was 2-minute drive. I was not gone for more than about 8 minutes between leaving and coming back. It must have been about 8 minutes. Obviously I wasn't walking to the shop. I did drive to the shop, because to get to the shop I've got to walk through a dark alley, and I didn't want to do that, so I took my car. Otherwise it probably would have taken me 25 minutes. But I didn't want to walk through a dark alley at 8 o'clock at night, you know. It's a bit dangerous as a woman on your own. And then the lady with the puppy left. Well, there's a whole family with that puppy, actually. There was about 5 people for a sore paw. And there I was sitting on my own. It was quite ironic to see. And the vet came out and she pulled a chair in front of me and she held my hand. And she said, her lungs are full of fluid. I've given her a huge dose of furosemide into her vein. She's in an oxygen chamber at the moment, which is similar to what was on the video I showed before. But her lungs are completely full of fluid and her heart valves are popping. I don't really know what that means. She said you could take her home, but she's not going to make it. She could go days, but she's going to. I could not let her suffer like that. When I saw her, she was squeaking, literally squeaking, because she was struggling so much. She was squeaking. Even with a large dose of furosemide, all the intensive care equipment she could have, sitting in an oxygen chamber, she was squeaking. And she looked at me, and if you've ever looked at a cat that is suffering, you know the look they give you, like, please make it stop. So she was put to sleep, because otherwise she would have suffocated to death, and I did not want that to be the case. I did not want her to have to suffocate like that or suffer like that. That's barbaric. But yeah, so she passed away exactly 6 months to the hour, in fact, because, you know, she has to be precise. I'm just absolutely devastated. Absolutely devastated, to be honest. I did everything right this time. I had another cat, a tomcat, and he was having partial seizures, but he'd had the cardiomyopathy for about 10 years. And he, you know, he was diagnosed as a kitten and he was 10 when he died. And he died from a blood clot, which there was nothing I could have done. But on the morning that he died, he had a seizure. And he couldn't have his epilepsy medicine and his furosemide at the same time, or an aspirin at the same time, because in order for the epilepsy medication to work, you dump thin your blood, and so, which is what aspirin does. And so I prioritised the phenobarbital medication, and he got a massive blood clot and died that day. And it will be 4 years in June since that happened, and I've never forgiven myself for that. But this time around, I got everything right. I did everything right. And she's still gone. And my cats are everything to me. I don't have a spouse, I don't have a partner, I don't have children, I don't have a close family, I don't have loads of friends, because you know, I moved, and when you move you lose a lot of people, or you lose contact with people. I do have friends, but a lot of them just don't even seem to understand how significant a loss it is to me. Like, they're just not animal people. And so I felt completely on my own. In fact, I spent 3.5 days completely on my own. No one came to see me. No one came to hug me. No one phoned me. Apparently, they were waiting for me to reach out to them. I didn't realise that's how this worked. I thought when someone dies, you reach out to the person that's grieving and say, hey, mate, you know, I'm here. Or, hey, if you need anything, you know where I am. Or if you want a brew, if you want to come and have a hug, if you want to come out and open a bottle of wine, you know, which is what I do. But apparently, I have to be the one that reaches out. So, yeah, that was hard. A few days. And, you know, I'm angry because how was my cat fine 6 hours earlier and now she's dead? And the vet, at the emergency vet, the vet said, and I quote, I don't know how this wasn't heard 6 hours ago, because this would have accumulated over a number of days. This is not something that I would have missed. So I don't know how she was sent home 6 hours ago, because if I would have examined her 6 hours ago, she would have been admitted to the pet hospital. Like vets, they call them pet hospitals, don't they? Like hospital inpatient admissions, or pet hospital admissions, or I've had other vets that call them the acute animal hospital admission. But yeah, she said that she wouldn't have missed that. So, you know, it's left me feeling quite angry, because I feel like the vet didn't do an adequate job. The reason the vet didn't do an adequate job, again, leaves me feeling guilty, because I have severe asthma. I have very significant lung problems, and my breathing can be very loud and very wheezy and very short breath. And the vet was more concerned about my breathing than she was about my cat. To the point where she actually said, and I'll quote, "Would you like some oxygen? Do I need to call help for you?" She was more concerned about my breathing than she was about my cat, who was the actual patient. And that's why my cat's dead. And that's a really hard thing to accept, that, you know, it's my fault. But yeah, she was the sweetest cat. She's never hurt a fly in her life. Everyone who saw her thought she was the most loveliest cat, the most gentlest soul. You know, the two words that stick out the most was, she's so sweet and she's super cute. And yeah, she was just, if more people in this world was half of what Misty was as a person, her calm, her kindness, her compassion, her gentleness, the world would just be a lot better. The world would be an amazing place to live. But yeah, she's gone, and obviously I've had her half my life, so it's very sad. Obviously, she's being cremated. I want to bring her home, so she's being cremated. It's been nearly a week now, so I'm hoping in the next week I'll have her home, where she belongs. But yeah, I feel like it was a shock, because you don't expect to take your cat to the vet and be told, we'll see you in 6 months, and 6 hours later she's dead. Like, how does that work? So it completely took me by surprise, because I thought she was okay, because she'd been seen by the vet that day. So it was like, and I was so excited. I said to my mum on the phone, I said, I'm so happy, you know, she's doing so well, and, you know, they're happy with her. And they'll drive her home. Little did I know that evening I'll be phoning my mum up again to say, you know, do you want to come and say goodbye? Because she's dying. My mum's like, what? What are you talking about? Because my mum was so shocked, because we'd been at the vet that day. She's like, but she's just been to the vet and she was fine. I was like, the vet missed it. That was really hard. But I have to say, the vets that I took her to that evening, the vet was so lovely.